How much is that winch rated for? We're about to find out. It moves. That's a good sign. How's it feel? Just trying to get it over that lip. There it goes. Dude is killing it right now. Set up this little snatch block to help kind of pull it this way a little bit.
It's not every day that these tow truck drivers have to move these containers. Typically they move vehicles, and so when pressed with the task of moving a container, it's a little bit different for them. They have to bring out equipment that they don't normally use techniques that they don't normally try. It's a lot of trial and error for this guy, and it took us quite a while to get it on there, probably 45 minutes to an hour. They do not specialize in moving these containers, and it was really hard to find someone that was even willing to move a container that was loaded with my goods. There was plenty of people that were willing to move them empty, but the tow truck drivers were the only guys that were willing to do this the way I needed them to. Also, this kind of vehicle is the only kind of vehicle that could have easily made it onto my property in these tight turns and tight locations, such as right here. If we had a huge 40-foot trailer, 20-plus foot trailer, it just wouldn't have worked out.
It's a big moment. Coming on down. My little pad's working so far. Working real well. That's good. That is too sketchy. See how close his tire got to the edge of that? Granted, that's probably the biggest truck that'll ever come down here, but still, I think I need to widen this. I need to build up the rocks on this side of the culvert and put a couple more loads. Build up this section so that you can safely make that turn. Check it out. Got me a storage container. Remember when that was all muddy and impossible? Look at it now. Still haven't decided where I want to put this yet, or if I want to get two, or just use this as storage and build an actual garage here. I just don't know yet. So for now, I'm just having him put it off to the side so I can still move the skid steer through if I need to.
Dropping one of these things off is a whole lot easier than picking one up, that's for sure. You've got gravity working against you when you're trying to pull it up the ramp. And in this case, we have this nice downhill slope, and we're easily able to drop it into location. See, as I mentioned before, I'm not positive yet if I want to do a hanger between two containers, or just push this to the back and turn it into my mill, and have a proper garage built. See, I'm thinking that garage could potentially be a garage / bedroom, kitchen, living space, which would allow me to live on the property in my first permitted structure, without having to choose what kind of home I want to build. You see, you just need a garage that is that has a toilet, has a kitchen, has a bedroom, all in designated spaces with walls, I believe is more or less the criteria. So I don't know yet. Still kind of figuring it out. But for now, the container has landed.
Down in here.
The process of making these test pits is actually really easy. This gentleman, they have to go to some kind of a school to find out where the best possible locations are. Honestly, it's kind of any person's best guess. The most important thing is that the DEQ has a large area and multiple places to choose from. So if one spot's not suitable, they can just as easily move on to the next spot, and that could potentially be the one. So here we're getting into test pit number 1, and it's really just a deep ramp that kind of allows a worker to walk easily down into a 4-foot deep hole. So we marked out 5 different locations and began digging. You just want to make that exactly 4 feet deep and make it safely walkable for a human to make their way down on in there. Now, I don't believe you actually had to go with a contractor to dig these holes. You can do it yourself. However, getting a hold of the DEQ and getting them to come out to the place and making the appointment and all of the paperwork that's involved with doing that is included in the fee that I paid these folks to come out and do this. And so this is what they do for a living. It's effortless in many ways for the homeowner to call them up, have them come out, dig those holes, set up the appointments, file all the paperwork, get everything signed, and ultimately get you on your way. It cost $2,500. Not terribly bad. It took them about 2 hours to make it happen, and they were in and out, quick and easy. So this is the beginning of the process. Got to make these test pits. Here they're making sure they're 4 feet deep, a little measuring tape, and this is the last one. They'll mark them off so that I don't accidentally drive into them, and they are headed home. Quick and easy, painless. So after they left, I figured I've got this perfectly dug out pit, 5 of them in big piles of loose dirt. It's ideal for metal detecting. I gave it a run, gave all 5 pits a run, and could not come up with a single mark except for in between the pits when I was walking in between. It's pretty funny.
Didn't get anything in the pits. Figured I'd start just checking other spots. That's tempting. So I'd already driven all the way out to the property to take care of the septic and the container coming out. So I figured I'd get some more work done. I ordered up the skid steer and I brought it out here for just 24 hours. I had one more project that was super important to me and I had to get it finished. I'll show you. So where I created the roundabout, there's a driveway that leads down to where the tool shed is going to go. I half-assed it the first time. I didn't do it right and it bothered me a lot. So I had to go back and redo it. The solution was to bring in a nice big tree, and I wanted to keep it whole, similar to the other pads, and this allowed me to bring in gravel and backfill with more dirt all the way along this edge here, that was kind of sloughing off and it wasn't nice and straight, and it really bothered me. So brought in this big tree. I got it from just beyond that oak. There was 2 big trees there, felled those, cut them up, and rolled one of the big ones all the way to this location. Backfilled it, topped it off with gravel. Now I've got a suitable pad for my tool shed. You guys probably don't remember, there was a big pile of wood right here. They were too small to mill and too big to just burn, so I didn't really know what to do with them. Got rid of all those, chopped them up, made a nice big stack. That last one I'm going to mill for the deck, and this was the other tree that I felled from over there. And it will also be part of the deck. So another thing that I did with the skid steer was, this was a pile of tree trunks. And I took all those tree trunks, dug out a hole, and I buried them. Covered them back up, and I'm gonna plant a bunch of blackberries on top. We're calling that Blackberry Hill. This gets a ton of drainage, water drainage from the entire property. All the way up from on top of there. It all kind of ends up down here and pools up right down there. So I figured just bury it, make a really cool space to come collect fresh fruit. And I did this week. It's probably enough firewood for, I don't know, 3 or 4 months. But the pile has begun, so we'll let that start seasoning away before I split it. I'm really happy with how this pad came out. What a difference. I feel like that's actually going to stand the test of time. Compared to what I did before, prior to, it was kind of wavy and it just didn't look right. And I knew that after a really good rain, it was ultimately going to start to slough off a little bit. Now I feel confident that that is not going anywhere. Down toward the creek, no new updates this way. I've just not had enough time to do any work on the deck. But next week, we're gonna start milling up some more boards. I need to make 15 footers to go all the way down this way. So it's been another great week. We got the septic test pits put in. We got the containers shipped all the way over here and put in its final location. I made a ton of firewood. I fixed the entire pad. It's been busy. Muscles are hurting again. Time for a little break. Gonna go home, edit this video, eat some In-N-Out burger is the plan. I got a craving right now. But I hope you enjoyed this one, and we'll see you next week.